All right. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to RTG Anime's reaction of Attack on Titan episode 70 or season 4 episode 11, I believe. Po, is that right?
Yep, season 4, episode 11. Our first video review.
Hell
Episode named
yes.
Deceiver.
Thank you, Riverside. Great application. Shout out to Riverside on your free trial. So my name's Randy, and Po's also in the house, and I thought today was probably I understood why. I got the point of the episode. There's a lot of things happening. Probably one of the slower episodes for me, though. I wasn't super jacked after it, but I totally appreciate where we're going with this. How'd you feel?
Yeah, I definitely feel the same way. I think this episode there's like less to dive into. And I think because we've been discussing the past few weeks, we've been kind of like getting a sense of where it's going to head, like the show's going to head. So, but yeah, I like understand like this kind of episode was necessary after the kind of like information heavy episodes in the past couple weeks.
Yeah, I was. I don't know. I'm getting this feeling that season 4, and I don't know how how it's been in the manga, but it feels like, has it felt a little bit more predictable to you than the last couple of seasons, or is it just that we're getting better at understanding the show? Because I feel like I don't know. I could end up with egg on my face. I could really end up with egg on my face, and a lot of the things. But I feel like we've been pretty fairly bang on with what's been happening thus far. And it just seems like it's so. For instance, in this episode, it seems like it's playing out quite clearly that Yelena got in touch with Eren before Eren went rogue, and so there was a word from Zeke that got Eren to go rogue and go to Mali by himself, and it just doesn't seem like anything's that surprising. Even last week, seeing Historia pregnant, like, was not made really clear at all, but if you actually think about it, the conclusion we both came to separately was that, like, if that kid's going to be, if her kid's going to be anyone's that's of relevance to the story, which I just think, given the way it was presented, it was a bit too smoke and mirrors. It probably has to be that it was Eren. It just doesn't. I don't know. I don't feel like it's as. I just was so surprised by some of the stuff in the first couple of seasons, and are we just getting better at deducing this?
I think it's like two things, right? Like one, now that because the first half of the season we were predicting a lot of things, and now the second half of the season, it's everything is unfolding. And we kind of have mapped out a lot of the different trajectories. I still feel the end result will be different from anything we might have predicted.
Right.
But I feel like the first 3 seasons, right? Like I was binging it, and I wasn't taking a break after every episode and being like, okay, here's what I think is going to happen, like we have been doing with season 4. So I think that's the main thing. I think we're just improving. I think the show's still like being unpredictable. Like Historia having a baby, like there's no way we could have predicted that. And Zeke, like we were talking about Zeke doing his own thing, but like switching sides and planning with Eren and the scouts to like kind of stage a killing, that was, nowhere near what I was thinking.
Stage.
So I think it's a bit of both. Yeah.
Staged. So it's in like Willie Tybur. Is that what you're talking about? Because like, yeah. So for instance, like Willie Tybur did not have royal blood, so there's definitely some like wild things that I've kind of guessed that were not the case. Still think Falco's going to eat Eren, though. We'll say that every episode until it happens or the show ends.
Yeah.
I did watch season 2 and season 3 episode by episode, and I was still completely shocked at basically everything going on. But you're right, like I wasn't breaking it down bit by bit like we are at the moment, because even like I'm sure we've brought up on the channel before that at least I've definitely kind of like partially theorized that Eren and Zeke were in their own game, and that was all kind of planned out by them. Like, so I definitely couldn't have guessed it before it happened, but we were definitely like that. That's probably one of the things that like I reckon they kind of gave a bit too many clues away about Zeke. It was too obvious. It's weird. Like, I don't, if that's what it was like in the manga, I'm not sure, or Yeah, do you know what I
honestly,
mean?
I feel like
That
we might
seemed
end
really
up.
obvious, and it shouldn't. I thought they should have maybe be like done a bit of a better
I
job
feel
of.
like we might end up eating our words here because I think there's. I still think Zeke's not going to just align with Aaron completely. I think
Uh,
he's going to put a little twist. But I'm glad they didn't just be like, okay, Zeke's a double agent without giving us these like little hints because like those little hints made him like kind of interesting. It didn't seem like an ass pull, which I appreciate. I appreciate us like being able to predict it right rather than them just pulling it out of left
yeah,
field.
when it feels like it's like a potluck, like weird thing that made no sense, sure, but I I felt like. I mean, going back and looking back on the Rainer Berthold reveal, it seems so weird that no one predicted it, and it seems really
Yeah,
like people probably did predict it, but it seems so weird that it wasn't obvious because it's so obvious when you go back and watch it all
yeah.
again. But yeah, I just like there was just a few. There was just like yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe it's looked really obvious that Zeke was defecting on purpose because that's the bait and switch. Like they wanted us to get that and then be like so in our head about the fact that we got it that we don't get the next twist that comes with. Because there's definitely a bit more to Zeke. Like I still don't know really what angle, like what his end goal. I mean, like, is it just to perform the rumbling and like is it because I'm not quite sure what his end goal is. I'm not quite sure where the scouts and him. I'm not sure where all this ends yet. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's
I mean, I
definitely
will give
some.
you credit. Like you did predict Aaron and Zeke had, in addition to the communication he had with the scouts, Zeke and Aaron also had some communication prior to Aaron going over to the island. So, and it seems like, that's been established as the case with Yelena and Floke kind of doing their own thing. So
Yeah, so
I think that was solid.
that was probably like that was definitely not the first part of the episode. Do we want to kind of dive into an episode
Yeah, let's dive into
recap?
the scene by scene.
So the first thing we see is Gabby just she's there's a little bit of
Bro, she's
there's a little bit of
crazy,
an
man.
issue with her. Like her first thought in any situation that requires any kind of problem solving is like, if I kill
Kill.
this person, then we don't have
And,
a
and
problem
it's like the
anymore.
same thing every time. It's the, oh, I'm a cute, like
I'm a
innocent little
yeah,
girl.
yeah,
Oh, here's a brick, or here's a gun, or here's like a bomb. Like she has literally pulled that same strategy on three different races and has been successful every time.
yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, she I was actually thinking about that. I was thinking like what's she going to do when she's older and she can't play the like cute kid card anymore. But I guess by that point
She'll
she's
play
just
the
going to be
old lady
such a
card.
such a lean mean fighting machine that she won't
Yeah,
need
she
to.
won't
I
need to.
yeah, but pretty brutal that she killed him. Like he was dead. He was dang dead.
Yeah. And it's like, it always makes you, yeah, because I wanted to ask you this afterwards, but like these people that she's taking advantage of, it's like, it shows that they're human. Like they're taking pity on this innocent girl. And then she just like whacks him over the head. So you feel bad for the person she
Yeah.
just killed. Like they're painting her as a villain, which is why I wanted to ask you, like, beginning of the season, you're like, Gabby's my new or like best girl on this side, right? Like, do you still feel that way, or do you still, or have you now kind of been like, she's crazy and like,
Yeah, I definitely like. I'm definitely not as. I'm not anti Gabby like everyone else is after she shot Sasha, but
yeah,
I'm definitely like on Team Falco. Like he's.
okay,
I feel like I'm more team. I feel like I'm Team Falco primarily for the reason that I've already decided he's the end game. Like I
mm-hmm.
really feel him and Armin are kind of like the two central end game characters, and so I think it's like slightly. I'm trying to like rig it in my brain so that Falco's there at the end and he's super critical to the story, and so I think that's probably why I'm more Team Falco than anything. But Gabby's definitely not. Yeah, she's definitely not like I'm not as in love with her as I was when she first popped up. I love how
Yeah,
OP. I do love how OP she is though. But yeah, like so we see her running away, and I think I picked this up in the preview last week. I kind of think I should stop watching the previews. It kind of gives a little bit they give a little bit too much away sometimes. It was pretty obvious to me that was Sasha's family, that they ended up getting taken in.
Real quick, like before we get into that kind of meeting, I thought it was interesting just like when they showed the armband and like her being so attached to that, just like as a metaphor, it kind of like shows she's like, so that's the only thing that distinguishes her from like the Paradise Devils, right? Like she was kind of telling Falco like, this is the only thing that makes me a good Eldian, and I thought that was really interesting because it seems like that kind of makes it very clear to the audience, like, dude, this whole thing's an illusion. Like, if this is the only thing, if like the armband is the only thing that separates you from being good and bad, like the whole thing's a farce.
Yeah, for me, what I saw that is like the need for her to distinguish herself, and yeah, like there is the aspect there is the notion that if that's the only thing you have that can distinguish you from these people, because I think she knows she's an Eldian. And they're Eldians. And so for this is her like symbolic reminder that she's not an island Eldian. She's not a paradise devil. Like she's a good Eldian. And she's like in such a heightened state of just there's a lot going on for her, like she emotionally, mentally, physically, like they're running away, like they're in danger. And for her, like this one thing that she just wants to hold on to is like her identity as a good Eldian. Like she doesn't want to give that up. Like she wants to stay faithful to her beliefs all the way to the end. And I guess the whole point of this episode was to start to break that down, and you kind of see her cracking a lot as the episode goes on and on and on.
Yeah, definitely. And then, yeah, I guess like the next scene you were about to dive into was them going to the Browse stable. And yeah, seeing like, so it wasn't just Sasha's parents, it was orphans, right? Under the Historia orphan movement.
Yeah.
And yeah, we kind of see what it seems like this show has focused a lot on like spies and like having that duality of like pretending you're on one side while being on the other. And we've seen this kind of like conflict tear at Reiner, Annie, Bertold, and like even Aaron had to be a spy at some point, but it seems like Gabby's just not cut out for it. She could barely contain the fact that she's with the other side. Like she can't even resist the fact that, you know, she's with the devils.
I think
Falco's just trying to calm her down the whole time.
I think if she was actually told to go and be a spy, she'd be good at it. But because she wasn't trying to be a spy, it's like her role there is not to be a spy. I think she'd be a good spy if she got told to go and spy on them, and she'd play the best island devil you'd ever seen. But she'd probably end up going the same way as Reiner. You know, like everyone who's come from Mali to Paradise pretty much has kind of realized, and I think vice versa in a certain, like, I reckon the Paradise guys know that Marleyans are not generally, like, at least the scouts know that they're not bad people, except for maybe Flock and like the military pull. Actually, there's probably a lot of Eldians that hate the Marleyans, but
oh dude, Flock is such a head ass.
Yeah, I'm not a massive fan of the fact that Flock's leading Team Eren right now.
Yeah.
So one thing that we missed was Hizuru. Atimi Maban. Oh, I've just completely fucked that up. Ate Mabino, was that it? Or Ato Mabina? Sure. Look, it was something like that with a bunch of vowels that I can't remember which one goes where. But anyway, she's come over with what looks like a helicopter, and that looks pretty fucking badass, and I'm keen to see what that actually is.
Yeah. So my thing was, right, like, we've obviously seen they've had blimps and like planes for a while now, right? Like probably like 20, 30 years at least.
But have they got planes or just blimps?
Or I mean, we've seen the blimps, like even in Aaron's dad's flashbacks, we saw like the blimps, right? So I'm assuming they have like other aircraft.
We haven't seen a plane
Maybe
yet.
They don't.
I'm certain we've seen ships and blimps. I don't think we've seen a plane.
Okay, so yeah, we have blimps, right? So was the thing stopping them from developing like smaller aircraft like the ice burst stone? Like what they already have flight, right? So what does the ice burst stone add? Like extra power or something?
Well, yeah, it must be like a higher voltage type of. It must be like a higher dense energy kind of mineral that can be mined and like made into like a smaller engine that gives more power. Like there must be some
Okay.
strategic advantage that the ice burst, like akin to
So it's
using something like a lithium battery or like
yeah.
carbon, like
It's
you
like the
just gonna get
vibranium
more
of the Marvel
thrust out of
universe.
carbon. Yeah. Or like, and
Yeah.
then going to like uranium, like you're going to get more out of splitting splitting the atom in uranium than you are out of burning fossil fuels. So it's like I think it's kind of a like I think this is the equivalent of someone in the 40s or like even the 1900s or like the 1800s discovering, instead of using steam power for trains, they're now able to like mine carbon and
Coal.
like
Yeah.
coal and basically just like superpower every single thing that they'd ever tried to build.
Yeah. Yeah, so then like in that sense it makes sense. Like and these smaller aircraft are probably going to be a lot it basically replicate what the scouts were doing on land now in the air, which would give them a huge advantage against like blimps now.
Yeah. And it seems then they're talking about going ahead with the rumbling, which therefore means they're going ahead with the rumbling, which means at least they're implementing phase one of Zeke's plan.
Yeah, and this kind of ties into Hanj when she's like saying, like knowingly or unknowingly, like I agreed to Zeke's plan or something to that effect. So, like, yeah, I guess they once the rumbling starts because they don't know the details, right, of how this thing is going to go down. But when she said like, "Oh, we can observe it from afar" or something, so like they're going to chill on this helicopter type plane thing and watch the rumbling transpire from the air. Is that what that was for? Like, I didn't get that line.
Well, I think what they were trying to do there is they were trying to use the rumbling, like they were introducing the helicopter. They were trying to implement three narrative devices there. One, look, we've got a helicopter slash plane. Two, look, we're still working with Hizuru. And three, we're enabling the rumbling. And that was the dialogue that allowed those three things to tie together. Like, we've built this to watch the rumbling, but I don't think they built it to watch the rumbling per se, but it's like a convenient part of the like
I
dialogue
see.
to then throw in. Now we can watch the rumbling with this thing. Maybe the blimps don't get high enough. Maybe this thing gets a higher altitude, so they're like more. They're able to see the rumbling at like a greater scale. I don't know exactly the symbolism, but to me, it's just seemed like a convenient way of adding in there that the rumbling was still on.
I see.
Yeah. Um, I think while we're on this thread, it was actually the next scene or the next point we had anyway. The the news outlets all haranguing Hunji, haranguing. Wow. Oh, geez, I
Yeah.
got the dictionary out
Excellent
there.
choice.
Haranguing, wow, haranguing Hunji. Say that 10 times fast. Was pretty poignant. I thought I was thinking back to that scene before they even showed it while the episode was playing, and it's it I could you understand where Hunji was coming from
Like you're talking about when all those kind of like past folks were talking to her right as she was entering the gate,
when
right?
Reeves was there and the two newspaper
Yeah.
guys and they were
Dude,
asking
I
her.
thought I honestly that was my favorite scene of the whole episode
Same.
so far. Because it's so interesting how like we've already seen Hanj in like seasons 1 and 2 and even 3 on the opposite side of this. Like she's like trying to understand why the government's working this way. Like she's kind of exploring the corrupt military police, and now she's on the flip side. And I feel like they didn't even need to show it, but they showed it anyway, and I think that was also pretty good. The flashback of like that church priest wall worshiper guy, um, and him saying like, "Hunch, once you're on this side, you'll understand like why we did these things." And yeah, he's right. Like Hanj always preached like transparency, and like she published the news of like, okay, this is the world, this is paradise, everyone hates us. But now like her and Pixis realize, we got to keep some information like close to the chest. Like we can't let what we're planning get out anymore. So I thought that was like so dope because you saw all these past characters all around her saying like, Hanj, like we did this together, right? Like you have our best interest in mind. And she's like, listen, I can't make any promises. So
Yeah.
yeah, I love that.
Yeah, so I think like it's like that famous like Dark Knight line, like you either die or live long enough to see
Oh,
yourself become
that's
the
a good
villain kind
comparison.
of
Yeah.
thing. And I could rationalize why Hunji was doing what she was like because she's very well aware now that they've breached Mali that it's possible for there to be spies, and so she doesn't want to like she can't just publish all the information because it'd be so easy for like a spy of Mali or a spy from the rest of the world or even from Hizuru to like get the information about what they're doing. Like the world she understands how 4D the world is now and also how important it is to I guess because people don't have the whole story, right? Like if she's going to publish that they've got Eren captive, is she also going to publish that he went rogue? And if she publishes that he went rogue, what is everyone going to think then? Because at the moment they're all thinking that he should be free, but they don't understand that he's gone rogue. And who is he even rogue with? They've got no idea what's going on with Zeke. I bet they don't know that Zeke's there. Like it's like you actually can't from like a diplomatic perspective. And it's dangerous, right? This is such an interesting thing in the current like scheme of where we're actually at on planet Earth right now. Because a part of the reason that Trump got elected was because even though I think like general consensus is that like even if he wasn't perfect, like Obama did a pretty decent job and like genuinely cared about like America and the world, and but probably gave up a little bit too much soft power to the rest of the world in his attempts to like diplomatically like kind of create. Like anyway, like we don't have to get too political, but like a lot of the problems with Trump getting elected was the fact that like governments around the world are not transparent, and it creates like this gap between like the elite and like particularly like the political elite and like the people who don't have anything, and then you're seeing like tech take all these people's jobs away, blah blah blah, and like and hiding information and not being transparent with your people can go really really bad. Like really, really bad. If you do it too much and you don't manage the situation well enough and give them enough information to make them feel like they're part of the process and they understand what's happening with their country, it creates civil unrest, which leads to the ability for someone like a Trump or a Duterte in the Philippines or like people like that to get elected because they just want change. And that's the danger that these guys are now taking by not giving any information. When people don't feel like they have any information, they don't feel like they understand what's going on. And when they don't feel like they understand what's going on, it freaks them out. And so these guys are like, why aren't you being honest? Particularly like, if I was Demo Reeves, I'd be pretty fucking pissed off. Yeah. He came so solid for them in season 3, like season 3, part 1. Like, and so there's a massive risk that these guys that they need to be wary of, that they don't give too much information that they don't well yeah but they can't really give the information
like
away.
On the flip side, right, like it's what you said earlier, right? Like Hanj, she can't like just tell them everything, right, because of the risk of spies. So I just think like I don't know what the right decision would be, but I'm like really enjoying Hanj's kind of like progression to be like commander and like her whole struggling to like be what Erwin was to the scouts and like trying to lead the nation. I think like Hanj has like everyone liked her in seasons 1 through 3. She was like she was a good character for me. Like this kind of arc has made her like one of my favorite characters of the season.
It's interesting because that was the thought that I had when she's having that argument with people. If Erwin was in that situation and he just turns around and says like, guys, shut the fuck up, I'm doing this for the sake of the Eldian people, they would, because Erwin had the like because at one level or another you have to have the public trust. You don't need to tell them everything to have their trust, but you better be if you're not going to tell them what's going on, like you got to have the runs on the board to get like to trust a leader blindly is difficult for people to do, and you have to have the runs on the board and you have to have the track record. And to what everyone is seeing, the track record of Eren is strong. and he's the reason why everything's like. I think that
That's true. Yeah.
yeah. What do you? How do you think Irwin would have handled that situation, and how do you think people would have responded to the way he handled? Like, do you think he would have responded the same and got a different outcome to Hanji, or
Yeah.
what do you think?
So I like that you're using Irwin as the example because we've seen him like hide truths before, right? Like with the scouts, he didn't tell them that the whole going to the forest was to smoke out like a possible traitor among the ranks, like to smoke out the person who killed the two titans or something. Like and that's like the scouts, right? Which is like his core. So I feel like
And
he
accepting that
would have
people are
had,
going to die. Like,
yeah,
people accepted that people were going to die under Irwin, and they just accepted it.
yeah. So I feel like Irwin would actually not even like not say anything. I feel like he would maybe manipulate the truth even, and maybe like sprinkle in seeds of lies to not only like I feel like he'd do it in such a way that the public could understand their decisions, but also like if enemies or like spies were in the nation, like they wouldn't have a good sense of what was going on either.
Yeah,
So I feel like Irwin would definitely play the information game
yeah,
to his advantage.
yeah. I feel for Hanji. She's in a tough position
Yeah,
now,
because
and
Hanj is not like that. Like she values honesty, like
yeah,
saving
yeah.
lives. So yeah,
So then we see her go into the room with Flock and the three scouts, and they are being tried for leaking information to the media about Eren. Um, yeah, I thought this was another interesting scene for Hanji because she had to like decide to punish and to imprison, and it's just so obvious that it goes against her nature.
yeah. But like again, I think that's the right decision, right? Like if you have these guys leaking information, you have to punish them. And even though they're like coming with under this guise of like Aaron's our leader, like this is the resistance, like type thing, you have to like you can't just let them do as they please. That's kind of a sign then like you're not willing to impose the law. But yeah, it's like kind of diving into Float because I feel like end of season 3 when he like kind of made the argument for saving Erwin instead of Armin, and like he was stuck by that. I didn't think he was a bad character. A lot of people hated him for that. I thought, from his point of view, that what he did makes perfect sense and it was logical. But now it's like his whole thing is he is like one of the few scouts who don't see the bigger picture. He's like, oh, the Paradise Eldians are good, other Eldians are bad, the whole world is bad. Like he's seeing it in black and white, which I feel like people at a younger age, his peers, have all kind of seen the bigger picture, and he isn't. And I feel like now it's fine to hate on him.
I wonder if he's one of the younger ones that are being looped into everything, and therefore the most suspect or vulnerable to like, I don't know. No, I don't think that's particularly the case because even the recruits knew. Like, I actually can't believe the
Yeah.
top brass like were telling the recruits, well, but maybe they were there and so they just saw what happened and knew what was going on. But I think I just didn't. I never really liked Flock. I got his argument with Irwin, but I just never really liked. I don't know. I just don't really like.
His
Just don't
hair.
love his character. Like his hair is better in this season than it was in like
Yeah,
season
his hair
three.
is better.
But I don't know. But I guess it. I can. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty clear that he. uh, I mean, because if he's passing information to Eren through Yelena earlier before they went to Mali, he's been on team Zeke, Eren, like Yelena for a
Okay,
while.
so like I don't think he's been in with Zeke. I think he's just like he views Aaron as his savior, and I feel like that's kind of been because there's
But
no
think about
way
how that
he's like
works.
plotting with Zeke,
Because
right?
Eren can't go to him and be like, yo, Zeke's trying to send me information. Can you get it from Yelena? Because Eren doesn't know yet. So it has to be Yelena getting Flock on board to then get to Eren. That's what it made it sound like when they were talking about it
Yeah.
after the first half of the episode.
I don't know. It's hard for me to believe, like with Floke, kind of his single-minded, like, this side of the Eldians are good, that side is bad. Like, it's hard for me to like accept that he's partnering with Zeke, someone he should view as the enemy, especially since Zeke was the one who killed Erwin and like almost killed him.
The pitch is definitely not partner with Zeke. The pitch is we need to get this message to Eren so that Eren can be the
Yeah,
savior or
definitely.
whatever. Yeah, it's quite
Yeah,
interesting. I like that you I saw that you'd written like Eren's like an Eldian Jesus. It's
yeah,
it just speaks so much to humans' desire to deify people and things that, you know, and create symbolism where it doesn't need to be there, and then use that to identify yourself with, and then with that identifying yourself, then turn yourself against other people who have different understandings or identities. Like it's just such a, like, it's, yeah, I mean, it's like if you think of it from that perspective, Flock's kind of gone a little bit insane.
yeah. So yeah, I was gonna like ask you, how do you feel about like Aaron kind of having his own resistance group? Do you think that's like for the best, or do you think this can now be a problem if Aaron goes rogue and some civil war type thing?
I don't know. I mean, it's going to be good TV. Um,
Yeah.
I, I re-
Especially like because this has been a pattern of them like imprisoning Aaron after he does something like like first season, like I understood like okay, he turned into a Titan, people were unsure, imprison him. But now it seems like, is this really the best way to go about doing it?
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I was reflecting on the season, on the episode last week, and thinking that the conversation he had with Hunji, like, is there a part of Eren who's trying to say to her, I can break out whenever I want, but I'm still here. That means I'm still on your side, even though I'm
Yeah.
being a brat or whatever he's doing. The fact that he's either waiting for something or he's still in some fashion on the scouts side. I mean, I don't really know how I feel about Eren having like a resistance band behind him if he's gonna go rogue. I'm not entirely sure what's actually going to going to transpire there. Yeah, I do think, yeah, no, I'm not really sure. How do
Mm.
you feel about it?
And then um I think imprisoning him was kind of like the wrong move. And if you were to do it, like kind of keep it close to the chest.
Yeah, why do the
Like, yeah, the
recruits know?
fact that, yeah, like Floke, the recruits, like okay, Mikasa, Armin, and like that squad, like maybe they know because they'd obviously be looking for Aaron, but you don't. Yeah, I feel like that's not something you publicly disclose, and it seems like they're just keeping him there and like they're giving him a timeout. Like I feel like if anything, they should be interrogating him and like being like, "Yo, why did you do what you did? What's your goal?"
So my take on this is that what they've done is they've removed Zeke and taken him and sat him with Levi, and they've put Eren underground whilst they've tried to piece everything together that they don't yet understand, which is why Pixis is interrogating Yelena, and they're like trying to get to the bottom of what Flock's up to and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
and that makes
Yeah.
sense. And like I can understand that. So that's probably what they're doing.
Yeah, but
Um,
I mean, it just doesn't make sense to have Eren underground because, like, he can get out. What's the
yeah,
point?
it's
So, yeah, that was my thought process there. And then after that, right before we get the halftime, I think we see Mikasa talking to the girl that she'd saved back in season one when the Reeves company was trying to push the cart through the thing, and then
yeah,
at the end of that conversation, we see her have this weird flashback to when Eren saved Mikasa. That made very little sense to me.
yeah. So okay, my first reaction, I'm like, bruh, do not tell me she's in the running to eat Aaron too. Like they're throwing way too many like candidates to eat Aaron now. Um, but then like someone on Reddit was basically saying like when the girl did the salute, because like apparently I guess Mikasa did that when she saved them. It kind of like triggered her to like think back on what the scarf like and Aaron have done like for her
Right.
throughout the years, and
Yeah, maybe.
she kind of realizes like Aaron has always been this monster. Like,
Yeah, maybe. I'm not. I thought there could have been some paths thing going on there, like Aaron communicating to her
Yeah.
through paths, but then it doesn't really make sense because she's not really. Oh, I don't. We don't really know how the Ackermans like if the because are the like we don't really know if the Ackermans are Eldian yet.
Yeah, we still
We
don't know. And
she's an Oriental Ackerman, so like is she even Eldian? Like can she even become a Titan? Is like the question I want to know.
yeah.
But yeah, so we don't know what the Ackermans are yet. I yeah, I think that could be that's like a good like I like the idea that she was reflecting on the fact that Eren had saved her in the same way that she'd saved this girl, and maybe that's going to like turn her to Eren's side. But again, I think that's just me posturing because that's what I want to see happen. I want to see her and Eren like end up like on the same side, opposite Armin. Yeah. I don't, but I do. Did you have anything to add for that part? Like I didn't take like too much out of it. And there's so I just thought
not really.
I just thought maybe it was paths, Eren communicating to her, just the way that says Mikasa like right at the end of it.
Yeah, that I think that pretty much covers it. Like it's either paths or she like it's kind of to demonstrate Eren's always been this way, and her and Eren they're gonna have to like talk through some major shit. Like
yeah,
something's going on between them.
Agreed. So next up we had the scene where so this is where we have Pixis. We've already talked about this a little bit, but Pixis is interrogating Yelena, and I've put the key piece that I put together here was that it was 10 months ago. So I don't know how long we are after the Mali invasion, but if we're only like a week or two after, then essentially Eren went rogue 10 months before. So basically like right up until that railway they were building was finished, he was still normal kind of Eren, a bit jaded, but like he was last week saying that, all the scouts really important to him and blah, 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 like he was doing in the last episode. And then the party when they finished that railway from Tross down to the port is when Yelena gets a message via flock to Eren. And then that's when they lose Eren, essentially. And Eren goes rogue and ends up in Mali.
So, yes, like we've established the timeline now is 10 months. That's probably when Eren was, I guess, like that's when the plan was kind of like, okay, I'm going to leave, become a spy for Marley. He probably leaves a bit later if the Historia and Eren like pregnancy, if that timeline matches up, then he would have had to leave a bit later.
So he's found out 10 months ago. Oh my God. Wait, that almost works too perfectly. Wait, that almost works way too perfectly. So 10 months ago, Zeke finds out, like 10 months ago, Eren finds out that Zeke sends him a message, right?
Yeah.
And then, like, how pregnant is Historia? Because it seems like he's done something, like, if he's knocked
pretty deep.
If he's knocked Historia up, he's done that pretty immediately after Zeke has sent that message. Like 10 months through to like, if his story is like 8.5, like basically about to pop, like Eren has basically knocked, like if Eren, like I know we're going way down the Eren Historia train, like ship train right now, but if Eren has knocked her up, that literally he's knocked her up and then fucked off to Mali. That is literally like what's happened. And that's almost like
classic rip and dip strategy.
That's like, that's too perfect timing. Sense, right? Perfect timing.
I know. Because, Zeke tells him, here's the plan, etc. But
it has to be, it's not the plan, it's the reason for the plan. Because Eren knew the plan because he'd heard it from Hizuru, from Atimabino or whatever. Like, there was a reason.
But like, if Zeke wouldn't want Historia to be... Would Zeke want Historia to be pregnant? Because, like, they said it's delaying her eating him, right? And, like, but Zeke wants to be eaten by someone of royal blood. So...
Well, maybe Zeke said you have to knock Historia up now so she can be pregnant by the... Like, and then have the kid by the time I'm taken over there so that she can eat me. Like, it makes it actually... Because maybe he knows. Maybe once you're a Titan, Like oh no, wait, you have if Aaron's the father, like you have to be able to have a kid if you're the. I mean, I know I'm speculating on like a heap of different things right now, but like, but maybe Zeke specifically is like, we're gonna do this at this exact point in time, and therefore, if you knock her up now, like then by the time she's had the kid, I'm gonna be over there. Like maybe that's what Zeke's waiting for.
Historia to have the kid.
I don't know. That doesn't sound. That
Well,
actually doesn't sound
Zeke's
right.
not the
Yeah,
one.
he's not really
Yeah,
waiting.
Zeke's not the one waiting.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
Levi is
Oh
in
my
control.
god.
But like, okay,
So
this timeline makes sense.
I'm almost positive that Aaron's gotten some message from Zeke and it's made him put a plan in action, which is like for some reason, one, have sex and have a kid with Historia, and also like I mean, like I know anime doesn't really pay much attention, but like that having a kid can be hard sometimes. So they're probably like having repeated sex for a while. Two, um, two, he's gone to Mali. So like honestly, like if he's because you're not just going to make that plan in a day and then leave. So like give himself like 3 or 4 weeks to like like figure out a plan of exactly like what he's going to do and how he's going to do it. Knocks his story up and then goes. And he's been in Mali for say like 7 to 8 months.
Yeah.
And that fits into this. There was a 6-month like we knew he'd been there for at least 6 months, I think, because of something that we'd heard earlier in the season. So like it literally is almost perfect timing.
Yeah, dude. That was my first thought when I heard like the 10 months thing. I was like, wait, does this Historia thing work out?
Yeah, I didn't think about that at all until just then. All right, so yeah, so like this is so I wonder what Zeke has said to Aaron. He's probably like I wonder what Zeke has said to Aaron.
Yeah.
So weird.
That's what I was gonna ask. Like, because this, like, whatever he said, right? It made Aaron do like a bunch of rash actions, like, and immediately too, like, okay, do this with Historia. Now come over here, and you're gonna endanger these people's lives to do this. Then you're gonna come back, and we're gonna make this happen. And it's like, and then like also his just whole like vibe has changed. So like, what the hell did Zeke say?
And the last thing he wanted to do was do what Zeke wanted to do. So what has he said to Aaron? I cannot. This is the missing piece in my. This is the missing piece in my. Wait. Also, if he's knocked his story up, if all he has to do is touch someone with royal blood to get the paths shit going, what happens when he fucks someone? Oh my god! Like, what is he seeing? What is he seeing? Because if he's been spending time with Historia, what has he seen? Like, what does he know?
He's seen everything.
Well, yeah. Is that why he's like he is now?
Bruh. That's not where my mind went with this, but
well, like I'm not saying having sex with Historia is going to do anything different, but if he's been in contact, I mean, touching her, he's obviously seen more stuff. Oh my god! So like, there's so much like.
I mean, it's not like every time he touched her, like something happened. It was just like the few times.
But how often did we see her touch? Like, how often did we see skin to skin contact? I don't know if we ever saw it.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
You know, like anyway, yeah. So
no. Historia and Ymir only had that moment once, and Ymir was like always a Titan, and Historia and Ymir definitely like had physical contact several times throughout the show.
Yeah, but Ymir's not the founding Titan.
Yeah, so maybe that plays a part as well.
Yeah, it might not be every time. I'm not sure, but I can tell you right now, if they're fucking, like Aaron got some paths shit going on. So all right. Yeah. So look, at this point in time, though, we have no direct evidence that Aaron but all we're saying is the timelines are adding up, and that also adds an extra layer. It's like not just what did Zeke say to Aaron. It's like what did Aaron see?
Yeah.
Like, is that why he's gone? Is that why he's gone down like the deep end? Like, what did Aaron see? What has he seen? So, like, it might not just be what Zeke said to him. It might be what he's seen through touching Historia.
Yeah, Zeke was probably just like, oh, in order to save Mikasa and Armin, you have to do all this stuff. And he's like, all right.
Yeah, I'm sure Zeke said something really interesting to him too. Yeah, but there's like another added layer. If Aaron's the father of the kid,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's like Oh, like it's definitely all coming into my brain now. Like I don't know how like intently you've watched like the quick freeze frames of the season 4 trailer. But
I haven't like visited it too
if
much because I'm afraid like I'll see too
yeah,
much.
yeah, like I don't know. If you want to see what could possibly be too much, go and do that. Um
Yeah.
Otherwise I won't talk about it. But like what I'm like there's a lot of shit that's like starting to like formulate in my brain. Um
Yeah.
so then we get to Gabi and the stable. We get to Gabi. We get to Gabi and the stable girl, which was we're now finding out it was the young girl that Sasha saved. And this is pretty like I wonder if there's going to be a penny drop moment. And this is ignoring all the conversation that had. I just wonder if there's going to be a penny drop moment where Gabi realizes that this is the family of the girl that she shot.
Yeah. It seems like people on Reddit were thinking the opposite would happen. Like they would realize, like the family would realize Gabby is the person who killed Sasha because of Niccolo and like there's some connection there.
Yeah, I mean, but I think the family will maybe they'll both realize at the same time at the restaurant.
Oh man, that's gonna be a rough thing. I don't want Gabby to kill any more people, man. Like these.
No, I think that'll be the making of Gabi. I think rather than Gabi killing anyone at that point, I think that'll be the final nail in her realizing everyone's the same. And
Bloodlust.
yeah, like I think
Yeah.
that kind of like mini arc of Gabi realizing everyone's the same and getting rid of that. I think it might be the final
And
nail in the coffin of her hatred towards the
yeah,
yeah.
I will say like maybe aside from like Erwin's death and like a few other people, like Sasha's death has been like super impactful. Like the past few episodes have all been just like this. Hey guys, guess what? Sasha's dead. Here's all the things that are influenced by
Yeah,
that. And
yeah,
I'm like, damn man, like so now like this whole like this girl was inspired by Sasha and like she's like having this conversation with Gabby and like once they kind of had that reveal like oh this was the chick that like Sasha saved with the axe and like killed that Titan with the bow and arrow like that super badass moment. This was the girl that was like inspired by it. And I'm like, oh my god, dude, why did you have to go kill her, Gabby? Like,
yeah. I was really appreciating the way that it was used to like shock, but now they're like he's wringing every last drop of significance he can from every single character. Every like it just there's not. I've been rewatching like I'm back up to like nearly halfway through season 3 at the moment, and there's literally just not a single. There was so many moments in season 3 where I was just like, oh my god, like just these little things just made so much more. Like kind of this made so much more impact to me. Yeah, actually, fuck, I wish I could remember one of them
yeah,
because like there was one that was like it blew my mind. But yeah, like they just do not. He does not waste a single moment of dialogue or like a single event. Every event will have 2 or 3 meanings to it. Like there's just never more than one thing going on in any given point in time. It's amazing. Like I've yeah, hats off. Like it just such a perfect like let's have Sasha die and then use Sasha's death to create the plot device that turns Gabi completely around because that's what I think eventually will happen.
yeah, yeah. No, that's yeah. It's like, definitely true. Like he's making the deaths feel meaningful. Like they're impacting the world. They're not just like oh this person died. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Which I can appreciate. But yeah, like I guess getting into the conversation, um, we finally kind of get because it's been like hinting at for a while. Like Gabby's having these moments of doubt. Like, what do you mean good Eldians? Like they're
Yeah.
all bad, right? And like we finally get this like this stable girl who had her mom eaten. Like, what did she do wrong? And then Gabby's like, and I'm glad Gabby just didn't take that like, oh, she was like, oh well, you guys did these many things wrong. Like you tortured people for hundreds of years. But then she's like, yeah, but my mom wasn't even alive then. And
Yeah.
Gabby has no real response to that.
And her mum was also already dead by the time Eren like destroyed Gabby's home. Like she brought it, the stable girl brought it down to like a very, very human level of like, what did my mum do? Like she wasn't
Yeah,
alive when all of these atrocities happened. She wasn't even alive. She was already dead by the time Erin had like fucked up Liberio. So like, what did she do? There was literally nothing she could have possibly done. And also, Gabby's just totally forgot the play by Willie Tyber because he explained what the Paradise Eldians actually are and what they did. I guess you probably would
Yeah.
forget if the attack titan then just like explodes out of a wall and eats him and then
Like two of
fucks
your
everyone
best
up.
friends
Yeah,
get
I guess
killed.
I guess I can accept that she didn't just hold on to the like the minor details of the play that was was on. Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess I guess I can forgive her of that.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, like it's clear that Falco has understood, accepted, and maybe is probably like trying to make plans of, what's going to happen. Although he's also, I think he's fine with letting the Warriors, like Reiner and them, come save them and like trash the rest of Paradise. Like, because he was kind of bringing that up nonchalantly, like, oh, my brother and Reiner will come and save us, which would mean like they're gonna trash the rest of the place. Like, I don't know. I want to like
That's a good point.
listen to a Falco like monologue about like what his solution would be because like obviously he knows both sides are
Yeah.
in the wrong and right,
No,
but
that's a really
yeah,
good point. I don't know. Yeah, I want like I wonder he wouldn't be okay with it, but I think at this point he's like kind of accepting like this is
yeah,
the nature of war. At some level, he's accepted that Reiner and stuff will come around, and then we get to the ED,
yeah,
and what I loved the most about this ED is that for the first time in his entire life, like Reiner has something of substance to fight for.
dude,
He's not going to be the same person when when he comes over there and he's got those two to rescue. He's not going to be the same person that he was like that got his ass
all
kicked
right, dude,
three
yeah.
times.
Second favorite scene was this post ending scene, like just having all the warriors just like unite, like, oh no, we got to go like right now and save them, because you would think like they all just got their asses kicked, right? Like you would think,
Yeah.
oh dude, I'm not trying to go back over there, but and like especially we got 6 months to like get the whole world, like we don't even have to like kind of like put our bodies on the line, we'll have the whole world backing us up. They're
Yeah.
like, no, we have to go right now. And yeah, like seeing Reiner stand up for those two, like it gives him a purpose, and I'm ready for Reiner to do some heroic type shit. Like I'm so here for it. That
Yeah. I really, I really wonder what's gonna happen here. Yeah, I definitely don't think Reiner's going to be the same. You know, before he was just fighting for his ego and like he was a kid and he didn't really know what he was doing. And then he was just beaten down and destroyed. And like, you know, by the time they're actually fighting Eren, he's like friends with Eren and he's psychologically unpaired, like dispaired. But now it's like he's gone through the worst of that. I reckon he's coming back like full circle here and is
yeah,
he's gonna he's gonna be
yeah,
yeah, hella strong.
yeah. That's a good point because yeah, like in the past, right? Eren's had something to protect, and Reiner is just doing it for his ego. But like now, it's kind of like Reiner also has something to protect, so maybe that'll impact uh, the battles between those two.
Yeah, I mean it's really hard to see Eren losing to anyone right now. But
Yeah, especially since he has like three
there has to
titans.
be a round four here, and if there's a round four, I just wonder. Like I wonder how Reiner's gonna. I wonder how
So
Reiner's gonna. I wonder how it's definitely gonna be a more even fight, but I wonder how he's gonna get up and over him.
yeah, I will say like right now, like my prediction, like I don't think a Titan beats Eren. I do not see any of the Titans kind of like beating Eren. I think the one technology can kill him, or some betrayal type thing. But I don't see like in a Titan on Titan fight, like Eren might get like beaten down, but I don't think he goes out in a like Titan fight.
The only way Eren goes down in a Titan fight is if Armin's not around and the other three Titans all gang up. No, that wouldn't be like that. Wouldn't be the way they would take Eren out. Like Peak, Reiner, and Galliard. Like that's just not symbolic. Like Eren's going down in a very like impactful way. Like he's not just going to go down in like a 3-on-1 Titan fight. Like the only way I see a Titan beating Eren is if it's Armin.
Yeah, Um. Okay, and then I guess like my last kind of like question was, so like obviously the Warriors have kind of expressed intent, like we want to go there. What do you think their plan is? Do you think they're going to try to do the whole like spy undercover type thing, or just declare
It would be
war?
pretty hard for them to do that, given that everyone knows what they
Yeah.
look like. I actually, I don't know. I'm really like, I mean, there's not really like, there's not really much else they
See,
can do than kind of like just go for it,
yeah.
I guess. But I don't know how that actually works. Yeah. What do you think?
I think they will do some of the recon work. I'm not sure how they're going to pull it off, and like maybe like hopefully they don't come across soldiers like the rest of the world maybe doesn't know what they look like. And like anyone aside from Aaron shouldn't know what like Peak and Galliard look like in human form, right? Um,
That is true.
but yeah, because like they can't just go there and like drop out of an airship and declare war. Like Aaron definitely beats their ass that way.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder what. Yeah, I'm not sure. Um, I thought it was interesting that Magarth was now like it feels like he puts himself on even standing with these guys
Yeah, I mean tactically,
and
like
wants to
I
save
he
Falco and Gabby.
yeah, or like I don't know. Did you think he wanted to save Falcon Gag? Because he was like, okay, yeah, that'd be a nice positive, but that's no longer the primary objective at this
But did he
point.
actually say that?
He didn't say that, but like he was inclined to like go 6 months later, right? Like
But the fact that he deferred to the Warriors once they all said they wanted to go suggested to me that there's definitely like a dynamic that shifted and also like plays into this like trope of Magarth that we've been getting, which is that he, you know, is like kind of he likes Gabby and Falco. He's got like a bit of a soft spot and he kind of sympathizes with Eldins.
yeah, yeah, we've seen that like in the past few episodes. He's not just like a cold-hearted tunnel vision kind of guy. So we do have like 3 minutes left, so I want to maybe get some predictions for next episode. Did you see the preview? Do you have anything?
One thing that I remember from the preview is that by now we should all be used to the shifting nature of the truth.
Yeah,
That was a pretty cool. That was a pretty cool statement. It looks like they're going to be starting to get to the bottom of what happened with Aaron, and I think that will coincide with some sort of. Oh yeah, we see like there's an like that. There seems to be. I think there's going to be some level of effort to bring Aaron and Zeke together.
yeah. So yeah, there was an explosion, and then like the thing that was more interesting to me is like there's the scene with Armin and Mikasa, and like they both seem very surprised. So I think yeah,
Don't remember
something
that.
will be revealed. Something will be revealed with like Aaron and maybe Zeke possibly.
Let me actually just quickly watch
Yeah.
it. Oh yeah,
If
there's like
if I were to
yeah.
give this,
Oh, so it looks like they've said they're
yeah,
going to do something or say something to Aaron. Yeah,
yeah, if
I'm.
I were to give this a rating, I would give it probably like a 7.5 because it definitely doesn't. It's not hanging in there with the better episodes of the season, but it's like still a great episode.
It's serving even with the episodes that you don't rate as much these days. You understand with Attack on Titan, they're all serving a purpose. There's a reason
Yeah,
for almost every episode. So yeah, I think I'd give it the same, like a 7 or a 7.5. But whilst appreciating it's a part of a larger picture that's like slowly
yeah,
coming together. Like we're going to appreciate these episodes like we appreciate the season 3 part 1 episodes by the time the part 1 arc is done and we understand the significance of like the slow build up of like Eren and his story getting taken away and all that kind of stuff. I think I think we'll appreciate this in the same way once it's done.
yeah.
All right.
Um,
Cool. I think that's pretty much us done. We're going to get cut off in a second. I've been Randy. And Poe, thank you so much for really hosting it and getting everything rolling as well. See you next week.
Yeah, thanks. And also shout out to the couple guys who left comments last episode. I read them, and yeah, they were definitely insightful. All right.
Cheers,
Peace.
guys. Peace. Bye.